Hi, and welcome to Prepping Essentials. Good morning, it's 7 o'clock on Saturday the 12th of December. Another cold and foggy morning this morning. Just making my way down to the land, and as always, not quite sure what we're going to get done today, but let's find out. Well, here we are down on the land, and apart from the traffic passing by on the road outside, you can't actually see much. In fact, you can't see anything at all. Or you can just see a glow on the horizon. So I'll not take a video as I cross the field. You'll have to imagine it, and I'll catch up with you when I'm in the cabin and everything's unlocked. Well, as I say, you can hear, but you can't see. Thankfully, I've got lights at the door to the garden room. I've just popped the light inside. Nice to see that everything's drying out in here. So I'll get the cabin opened up, get the fire on, get the coffee on, and we'll see what we can get done today. Well, just opened up the cabin. It's nice that I have lights, or I would be in trouble. However, I have noticed something interesting on, don't know if you'll see this or not. Yeah, you can. 11.9 volts. Obviously no power coming in because it's pitch black outside. And battery drawing power. I mean, I draw power 24 hours a day because I've got this Wi-Fi set up for the cameras, and clearly I'm drawing power now because I've got lighting everywhere. But there is a bit of a concern that I've only got 11.9 volts in the battery bank. So I'm just going to get myself sorted out, and I'll maybe go into that in a bit more detail in a cabin chat once I've got my coffee on. Well, just looking to see if I can find out where the power draw is coming from, and there we go, schoolboy error. I left that inverter on last weekend when we were charging some cordless drill batteries, and you can see it's still connected to the batteries, and the little power light is on. So that's been sitting on all week, drawing power into that inverter. So that does explain why I've got a sudden drop on the battery bank. So entirely my fault, but lesson learned, and it's a bit of a food for thought with the winter months. Now that we're getting very limited amounts of daylight, especially with all this rain we've been having, there's been no sunshine whatsoever. You can see my breath steaming up in front of the camera. So I'm going to unplug that. Coffee is on, so I'll come back to you shortly. Well, good morning again. It's a surprise, surprise. Another cold, wet and very foggy day today down at the cabin. Don't know if you can see the steam on the breath or not. I've deliberately not lit the fire this morning. I will be dismantling the chimney and giving it a clean out, and just working out where that little damper flap sits in the chimney itself. And we'll try and get that nicely cleaned out and up and running again. I've also not turned the diesel heater on this morning. Those pipes that I was expecting for the exhaust haven't arrived. I guess that's not surprising as well. As we get closer to Christmas, everybody is online shopping, and everything's taking much longer than it should to get delivered. You never know, it might be there when I go home later on today. And if it is, then that's a job for me to keep me occupied tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed the the live stream yesterday, despite my IT schoolboy error, I guess. I was just sitting there for that entire hour looking at the screen at a picture of the chair I was sitting in without me in it. It was really quite spooky because I sat talking away and looking at this empty chair. It was really bizarre. But from the live chat yesterday, a very humbling experience for me. I had 3 super chats, never had those before. So many thanks again to Hoot and to Sean and to Shawnee for those super chats. Really do appreciate that, and I'll put that to good use when I go online shopping again. I'll get something for the cabin from that money. In terms of what we're planning to do today, as always, I am making it up as I go along. I always do. There's the chimney. I do want to get that cleared out. I'll cut some plywood sheet in for that boxed in area where the diesel heater sits. Just have a little bit of a play around. Mark, it's not his name actually, Marconi, who's actually Chris, left a comment about the diesel heater. He's clearly far more knowledgeable than I am on such things, and he made a very valid point about the fall on the pipes to stop condensation build-up, or indeed diesel that's not burned off building up in the pipes. So I will have a little look at that today and just work out where I'm going to route these pipes once they do turn up. Also in the garden room, have a little bit of a look where the raised beds are going to go. Might do a little bit of construction in there. We'll see how we get on. Electrical wiring in the garden room for those 12-volt outlets. There's an endless list of little jobs. Some might be interesting to you, others might not. But I'll try and capture as much as I can as I go through the day. Mucky job, but somebody's got to do it. Composting toilet. That needs emptying today. The more I sit and think, the more little jobs I come up with. I might even take a look at those potatoes. I'm kind of in 2 minds what to do with those, because they were supposed to be an experiment to see if I could get fresh potatoes for Christmas. And we've still got, what have we got, 10 days-ish? Or is it 12th today? Yeah, 12 days. 12 days of Christmas. Where's the advent calendar? I need to get one on the wall in the cabin. Yeah, the experiment was to see if I could get fresh potatoes out of the ground for Christmas dinner. But looking at the state of the foliage, or what's left of the foliage, the frosts we've had over the last couple of weeks have totally destroyed them. And I'm conscious that if I leave them, they might get frost damage. The actual potato tubers might get frost damage, or worse, start to rot, because it has been really wet. And then that's kind of tempered by the thought of, oh, well, maybe if I leave them, they might continue growing. I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens over the course of today and tomorrow. I might lift them, I might not. There's carrots. They definitely are ready for lifting. Again, I'm tempted to leave them in as long as I possibly can. Because if I take them all up, they're going to be sat in my house and they'll just go off. Whereas in the ground, they have a fighting chance of not rotting. I can just pick them as I want to use them. So, huge range of things there. As I say, the more you sit and think, the more things spring to mind. And the biggest problem is, I guess, that over the course of the day, they pop out of your mind again. You just completely forget. Anyway, so that's kind of a potted history of what we're thinking of today. One of my boys has threatened to come down and pay a visit. We'll see. If he does, that's an extra pair of hands, so any heavy lifting that's required, he can give me a hand with that. There is one little job in the tractor garage that I might want to get out of the way today if I've got somebody who's got a bit more muscle than I have, but I'll save that for when they arrive, if they do. One other thing I wanted to mention today, it's 12th of December, and that means that it's exactly 2 years since I put my first video on the channel on YouTube. So back in 2018, 12th of December 2018, I popped my first video up just to see what would happen. And it's kind of become a bit of an obsession from those early days. God, that seems such a long time ago now, and it's only 2 years. It seems like 200 years. And over the course of that 2 years, I've actually got 231 videos on the channel. Now that does sound a lot to me. I know that there are thousands and thousands of other channels out there that have got far more video content than I have. But that is a lot of videos. When I sit and think how much time it takes to do the recordings and then to go home and then edit it, and then with my really rubbish internet connection spend hours uploading those to YouTube, that's a lot of time invested over that 2 year period. Hopefully everybody who's visited the channel has found something in there that's been useful or of interest to them. I do try and vary the content, so there is something in there for pretty much everybody, no matter what your particular taste is in off-grid prepping, survivalism, call it what you want. I have tried to make it varied and to cover all aspects of prepping in there. And again, I am conscious that the last year has focused a lot more on the cabin build and the what hopefully in time will be a self-sufficiency garden. So if that's not your bag, please bear with me. Don't just give up on me, because over the course of next year, again, there will be a lot more varied content as we go through the year. But a bit selfish, I guess, I have been focusing a lot on this cabin to try and get all of the facilities in that I need, were it to be a bug out location come something hit the fan. And I am almost there. So yeah, hopefully over the last 2 years you've enjoyed stuff that I've put out on the channel, found it interesting, and hopefully you'll stay with me as I continue through next year on this journey. Live streams, I've done 3 now. Not sure how you found those. It is interesting and very heartwarming to see a little community starting to form around the channel and the live streams. I was watching yesterday, trying to spot any questions that came up, and it was nice to see that people on the chat were chatting amongst themselves. It's not all about me sitting talking away, although I am doing that now. It is about getting some value out of what I put on the channel and getting some value out of that community that visits the channel. There's an awful lot of people out there with a lot of experience, and it's a useful opportunity for everyone to build acquaintances, friendships on the channel, and to pass back and forth experience of what people are doing and tips and tricks that they might have learned through their prepping, off-grid or self-sufficiency lifestyle journey. So I just wanted to take the time today just to say thanks to everybody. I really do appreciate everybody that does visit the channel. I hope you do find it useful. I hope you do find other people on the channel that you can associate with, and hopefully as we go through next year, the channel will grow and the community itself will grow. I'm sitting at I think it's 1,890-ish subscribers on the channel. So thank you to everyone who does subscribe. Those of you who don't subscribe but do visit, thanks for visiting. I do appreciate it, but do consider subscribing. It is a struggle with YouTube. I do keep losing chunks of subscribers for no real apparent reason. So I'm itching to get to that 2,000 subscriber mark. I get all excited, it builds and builds, almost gets there, then a chunk of subscribers disappear, and I spend the next few weeks just watching again as it tries to crawl agonizingly slowly towards that 2,000 mark. YouTube has got its famous algorithm. It does monitor channel activity, so thumbs up or even thumbs down, whatever is your bag. It monitors who's subscribed, and it monitors duration of views. There's a whole range of different things that YouTube looks at, and based on that, what it sees, it then decides whether or not it wants to promote your videos and push out your content to a wider audience, hopefully to get them to revisit the channel and eventually subscribe and become part of the community. So really would appreciate it if you could subscribe if you're not already subscribed. If you could give thumbs up when the videos come out. It is an investment, massive investment in time trying to do these, and I am encouraged as I see the subscriber level increase and the thumbs up going in. So if you could help me out and do a little bit more promotion, share the videos, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. It all helps to build the channel and build the community, and hopefully push my content out to that wider audience. Anyway, enough of me chatting. There are things I want to do. Now I've got daylight, I can get out and about, tackle that chimney, and I can see what I'm doing in the garden room. Good news, after the schoolboy error of leaving something plugged in and sucking the battery for the past week, now we've got that bit of daylight. I can see the panels are charging again and the battery levels are going up. But it does kind of give me a prompt. I've got 2 batteries which gives me 220 amp hours of power currently on the system, and 2 100-watt panels on the roof of the original cabin. Having looked over the last, I guess, couple of months, that I've really started to notice as light levels have dropped and daylight hours have narrowed, I have noticed that whereas before I could quite merrily plug in stuff to charge, like cordless drills, I could use as much lighting as I want, I could recharge my phone and whatever else I might want to use the power for. I have noticed that the battery levels aren't as high as they were through the summer months. So that's kind of prompting me to re-examine the solar system and consider adding additional batteries and additional panels onto the roof, just to build up both my reserve of power that I have for the cabin, but also to help speed up the recharge time, particularly now at this time of the year when light levels are lower. Those 2 panels that I've got now do seem to be, well, not struggling per se, but they're not maintaining levels as high and as quickly as I would like them to. So it's kind of a lesson learned, I guess, as to how much capacity you do need for a small off-grid cabin like this. Although I've not had any failure of power, that little reminder this morning as I walked in, it's just prompted me, and I think over the winter period I'll see if I can't buy a couple of extra panels and batteries. They are horrendously expensive here. I don't know what they're like in the US, but decent, proper deep cycle batteries, you're talking minimum starting price of £100. The panels, if you're lucky on a sale, you might get a 100-watt panel for about £75–80 if you're lucky. So they're not cheap, but hopefully I'll treat myself as a Christmas present to at least one of each, and then add those to the system and see how we get on with that. Anyway, my coffee's going cold. I need to get this down me and get cracking with some work rather than just sitting here chilling in the cabin chatting to you, much as I do enjoy it. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, stay safe, have a great day. I'll try and get as much video as I can during the day. There'll be no outstanding big project work today, but there are lots of little things to do, so I need to get cracking with those. Well, the fog's gradually starting to clear. You can still see it there over the fields, and in fact you can see the light on the cabin. It tells you how low light levels are. I've just been dismantling the chimney from the wood burning stove. Looks very strange not seeing that there, and I've got it into the dry of the garden room, and you can see the build up inside. There's an awful lot of soot that's built up in the pipework. If you can see that or not. The light's not great in here. I'm sure you can. There's an awful lot. Yeah, you can there, look. An awful lot of build up. So I'm guessing that that's going to be the same. That looks weird. The same there. So a bit of a dirty job, and a cold job actually, because everything is cold and wet in that chimney, well, certainly on the outside anyway. So I'm going to have a little play with that and degunge the pipework from the chimney. The wood burning stove is looking very sorry for itself as I dismantle everything, but that's that flap I was talking about inside, and you can see how caked up that is. You can also see how difficult it is to know from the outside where that flap is, because when you push that spring, if I can do it, it is real difficult to know from the outside what position that flap's in. I am cracking on with the chimney. Here we go with the blurry video again. Come on, focus. Yeah, there's an awful lot in there, and if I turn this pipe, I don't know if you can see or not, the light is shockingly bad in here. There we go. That tube is almost full of soot and gunk. So wish me luck with this. It's taken, as everything does, a long time. Well, it's 9:30 already, but the wood fire is reassembled. We have a little blaze going. Chimney seems to be airtight, so that's good. Let's take a little look outside. That's the brush I was using to help clean the chimney, but to be honest, it needed more than that brush. Yeah, we've got a decent draw by the looks of it. So, result. We'll see how long it takes before it fills with soot again. And that empty coffee cup is just begging for me to put a coffee in it. I'll just get myself tidied up. My hands are covered in soot and like a tar, oily almost type from the build-up inside the chimney. Anyway, result, progress. Let's get a coffee on. Well, that's a really nice job done, and that's kicking out a lot of heat. So I'm just going to have 5 minutes. I've cleaned myself up. I've got my cup of coffee. And I've got a bag of Thai sweet chili crisps, or potato chips as our American cousins would call them. So I'm just going to sit and eat these, have a little warm by the fire, and have a ponder as to what's next on the agenda. I suspect probably electrics, but we'll see. Well, you know how I keep saying there's always one more thing that springs to mind. I'm just looking at how I can extend this diesel heater cabinet to come across here, and use that section to house the battery box. So I've got like a little L-shape kind of configuration going on. So I'm just measuring up now to see what I need in terms of wood, and no doubt you'll see the progress shortly. So, extension to the boxing section just to house that battery, get it off the floor, and I've still got plenty of space underneath to run the air intake and the exhaust pipe through the back wall of the garden room. And to be fair, considering it's been fabricated out of scrap wood, it's not looking too shabby, and it'll certainly do what it's supposed to do. Well, that's the extra boxed in section done. I've just rerouted and extended the cable for the thermostat and the on-off switch for the diesel heater, so I'm just testing it out. You can see it pops out here, back of the cabinet, runs up the door frame, then pops through into the cabin, and then I've just mounted it on the wall there as you walk in. So in fact that can go off now. Now I've proved that it works. There's a lot of real nice hot air coming out of there. It really is making a massive difference. You can hear me now. Now it's gone off. What also is good is that this ducting that runs into the cabin will act like a little mini radiator in here, as will the pipes, the exhaust pipe. Once I get it onto there, I did a little experiment earlier with some plywood, just leaned it up literally against the cabinet here, and that does really cut down the noise. So once this is fully done, I'll box in the heater section, just completely close the front in, and just leave this bit open for the battery box, and that should massively reduce the sound. So good job done, very pleased. Well, that's another little job done. I've got a 12-volt power outlet on the wall here now, which has got a cigarette lighter charge point and a twin USB fast and low charge, and that's just run round, same as all the other wiring, just tagged onto the side of the cabin and back to the feed point over by the door. So more progress. I don't know if you can hear or not. You can probably see running off the end of that roof there. It's still raining. I had a little experiment with these slabs. I'm not going to have time to do these today because I need to cut some lengths of wood, same as I have done here, to act as like a little retaining wall. both for the slabs and for the raised beds when they eventually go in. So I think I need to tidy up this disaster area and call it a day. Really pleased with that extra bit of boxing in. It just tidies it up a lot, gets the battery off the floor and gives me space under the cabinet to route the pipe work in. I'm praying that when I get home today that that pipe's arrived. And it's going to be real interesting to see how that big duct pipe warms up the garden room, because I noticed earlier when it was on there was a marked difference in temperature, so fingers crossed that'll act as a little bit of a heater in here as well as having the hot air in the cabin. Anyway, enough of this. I'm going to get myself tidied up and get myself home for a shower and something to eat. Well, that's everything locked up and put away. This rain has just not stopped again all day. Pleased to see the chimney back in place. Good result with that fire. And to be fair, fiddly things today, but it is all still good progress. Fingers crossed when I get home I've got some more materials waiting for me and I can continue tomorrow. Well, that's it for this video. I hope there was something in there that was of interest to you. If you did like the video, please do click on the like button. Also feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always, I welcome any comments, questions or suggestions you might have. What do you think about today? It's weird. I get down to the cabin with a plan in my head, sit and have a little think and agree that's what I'm going to be doing. And then all of a sudden something else crops up and I get sidetracked into doing something completely different to what I'd originally planned to do. Do you ever do that? Let me know in the comments section below. But for now, thanks for watching and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.